much, Mayor, for this testimony. Once again, the circular economy is not an end per se, is a means to an end, as you have highlighted during your intervention, an end for carbon neutrality, for zero waste cities, but also for conserving nature, as it is one of the goals of the resource wise wisdom approach. We stay in the north of Europe, but we go to Norway this time. Welcome to Anders Riis, county mayors of the Møre and Romsdal County, which when we arrived there, they say, and actually they show us the document, the county wants to become a leader in the circular economy, which is quite of a statement, but also a political commitment, because actually we have seen not only that all the departments were involved in this journey, from the construction sector to the public procurement, for example, department. And so the idea is very much to link, in this case, the circular economy approach with the regional development and green strategy. So the floor is yours, County Mayor, to inform us of the progress. Thank you.
Thank you, Ariane, and thank you for your team that has visited us. I think it was about exciting in the winter, and it was a little bit fearing, I think, also. But the Nordic countries want to explain the region where they are. Møre og Romsdal is on the appendix in Norway, but we are still in good health. In Møre og Romsdal, we see the circular economy as an essential to our regional development. It's not just about waste or recycling. It's about how we use our resources smarter and how we create value in new and more sustainable ways. We have already taken some important steps based on the recommendation in the policy scan done by the OECD. One example is that we participate in the CCRI mentoring program, where we have worked on available circular business models for material hubs and resource centers, reuse centers. This will reduce emissions, support local jobs, and build circular value chains. We are also working to enable industrial symbiosis, where different businesses collaborate across sectors to share resources, like surplus heat, materials, or organic waste. That kind of cross-sectoral and collaboration is essential if we want to move from ideas to action. We have also looked at how we, as a public sector actor, can change the way of operate. Both our Department of Transport and Building and Construction has started using life cycle assessments in projects and tenders. That's one example of how we can use tools like public procurement to lead the way. We are also working to strengthen procurement competence in municipalities. This is being done with a particular focus on circular criteria to ensure better resource use and sustainable outcomes. But it's also a positive outcome financially for the municipalities. I'm also proud how we involve people and different sectors. We have worked closely with the universities, businesses, and municipalities, because if we want the circular economy to succeed, it has to be something people feel ownership of, and something that's relevant for their everyday lives. We see this as a core part of our role as a regional facilitator, to connect actors, align thoughts, and build long-term capacity in the region. Finally, I would like to express our gratitude to the OECD, the CCRI, and the European Commission for the support and expertise. We couldn't have done this alone, so we have to work together with you. I'm proud to contribute to this work, and we will look forward to reading the full report. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Indeed, you touched upon the issue and the potential of public procurement, which is, I could say, the fil rouge of all these circular economy policy scans. Obviously, tool to change the market, also to change the demand in the use of material and different approaches. So you are using also the LCA, work in progress, but we see that you are continuing specifically also on the material and building. And of course, I invite all of you to stay for the afternoon, in which we're going to have a deep dive on the building sector. So thanks again. And now from Norway, we move to Bulgaria, capital city Sofia. Welcome to the Deputy Mayor Ivan Gojchev. What we have seen in Sofia that probably was a little bit different from other cities was that there was a very highly densely populated city center. And then just outside, literally 5 minutes, then you have a less densely populated area that is still part of the city. So there is a sort of dual approach when it comes to the spatial planning, and especially when you have to apply this to the circular economy concept. So the idea that we had and the exchange with a number of stakeholders was about applying circular economy at scale, which also obviously is based on innovation, experimentation. So the issue of starting up, but also scaling up in the future solution. So could you tell us a little bit more about the experience of Sofia in this field? Thank you, Deputy Mayor.
Thank you very much for this introduction, and I'm very happy to be here. Also very happy with the report that is going to help us a lot in our future activities. Yes, for Sofia, it's 1.5 million city. Indeed, you described very well the problem that we have. And I will give you some examples on how we're applying tailor-made solutions to the specific areas of the city. For example, for the low density areas that are around the center, we implement the so-called compost at home program. We provide containers for households that they can compost the biodegradable waste at home. And this helps us as a city to process this waste that directly at source without additional cost for the municipality. Also, the citizens feel that they are protecting their own kind of neighborhood, and this is they feel engaged with the process. On the other hand, in the central parts of the city, we have the different situations. We have the restaurants, the cafes, the small groceries, and all those concentrated activities that produce a lot of food waste. And this requires a different approach. We're running a waste collection program there that we're providing containers serviced on specific schedule. And the collected food is transported to the municipal bio-waste treatment plant. The waste is converted in biogas and then into electricity used for the plant itself, and then also sold if there is a surplus for additional revenue to the municipality. More on the examples would be on the packaging waste in the central part of the city. We have the colored containers, the popular green, yellow, blue ones, and they are served by small trucks that are suitable for the narrow streets. So it can be efficient, they can be efficiently transported. Then in the middle belt, so-called middle dense neighborhoods, where there is a bit more space, we use mobile collection units in addition to these containers that collect clothing waste, electrical appliances, batteries, furniture, and so on. And finally, again, moving to the outermost low density neighborhoods, we have waste disposal sites that households can take bulky waste and waste for renovation that can go into the other streams of recycling. Finally, this year, we started also experimentation with pop-up bulk collection spots. And this is a very interesting campaign that is more like a communication campaign for scheduled days, events during weekends, where people can empty their basements, garages, or attics, and from unwanted items. It's accepted very, very well from the community, and it's becoming more like a social event rather than a recycling or waste, let's say, not so attractive activity. But then when the community was engaged, they really like the opportunity to socialize together. So based on these positive receptions, we clearly see that we need to focus more efforts into engaging the citizens into the activities. And I think we saw that also in the report. So this encourages our activities to also give more awareness into how these activities are, what are the effects of these activities on the circular economy, and especially to the local communities. And we consider a very important activity for us to invest into quantitative and qualitative research on showing the data to the community, to the people, to the stakeholders, and based on the data to take the tailor-made decisions that are for the specific areas of the city. And I would like to underline that decisions based on data, this is actually how democracy works, right? Facts speak for themselves. We can see diverse perspectives. We can see how they can be solved, issues can be solved. And at the end of the day, to encourage local activities, local communities to participate a lot more in the solutions. So thank you again for the time.
And actually all the possible data we could find are here. So I invite everyone to have a look, and thank you for sharing this experience about also the economy of scale of a number of activities, of course, including waste that you just mentioned. Perfect. Thank you again. And now we are moving to France, alors que je vais passer au français. Merci beaucoup à la présidente Pia Harms de l'Eurométropole de Strasbourg pour être entre nous. L'Eurométropole de Strasbourg est une coopération intercommunale de 33 communes. L'Eurométropole a formulé sa feuille de route sur l'économie circulaire en 2019 et maintenant elle est en cours de révision, on dirait. Mais ce que nous avons retenu du dialogue qu'on a fait avec l'Eurométropole de Strasbourg, c'était en fait l'idée de lier l'économie circulaire au concept de sobriété, que c'est un concept en France qui s'est développé en fonction un peu, surtout lié à l'énergie. Mais en fait, la sobriété, ce n'est pas que lié au secteur énergétique. Il y a plusieurs fonctions, plusieurs applications de la sobriété. Alors, qu'est-ce que vous en pensez? Et si vous pouvez partager un peu l'expérience de l'Eurométropole Strasbourg. Merci.
Voilà, merci à l'OCDE pour cette invitation et pour nous avoir accompagnés dans le cadre de l'étude de cas sur l'Eurométropole de Strasbourg. En effet, nous avions déjà une feuille de route économie circulaire en 2019. Elle a été mise à jour en 2024 et surtout, nous sommes très fiers d'avoir obtenu une labellisation 4 étoiles sur 5 par notre ADEME, c'est l'Agence de maîtrise de l'énergie et de l'environnement. Ça veut dire que l'Eurométropole de Strasbourg est la première intercommunalité de France à avoir poussé si loin tous les sujets de l'économie circulaire. En effet, l'Eurométropole soutient les 33 communes de son territoire, plus de 500 000 habitants, et donc il nous faut une démarche territoriale pour les acteurs économiques et pour les habitants, et des outils opérationnels pour l'économie circulaire. Alors justement, nous avons insisté sur le concept de sobriété. C'est encourager les habitants à être finalement moins producteurs de déchets. Il faut commencer par cela. Et nous subventionnons, nous soutenons un très grand nombre d'associations et de structures qui plaident pour le zéro déchet. Le zéro déchet et globalement aussi, bien évidemment, le recyclage des déchets des habitants. Nous soutenons aussi au développement de filières de réemploi et je reviendrai particulièrement sur les bâtiments, les matériaux des travaux publics, les matériaux du BTP, pour tout ce qui concerne un chantier de rénovation et de destruction, par exemple d'un ancien hôpital militaire. Nous avons pu tester ces techniques, récupérer les matériaux du bâtiment et les réutiliser. Je voulais dire aussi que tout ce qui est réemploi des matériaux, ça crée de l'emploi. Nous avons des structures d'insertion, par exemple, de plus de 400 salariés qui valorisent, récupèrent, mais aussi les meubles, les déchets, et ceci s'inscrit donc dans l'économie sociale et solidaire. Ainsi, l'économie circulaire se coordonne avec l'économie sociale et solidaire. Nous sommes aussi la première métropole en France à avoir une vraie collecte des biodéchets et de compostage. Et donc, d'ici la fin 2025, l'ensemble des 33 communes et la grande commune de Strasbourg pratiquent donc la collecte des déchets alimentaires qui donnent d'ailleurs du gaz vert et de la chaleur verte. Et enfin, c'est encourager la seconde main pour les textiles. Et comme je vous l'ai dit, pour les déchets du bâtiment, c'est assez considérable et innovant. Ce qui mérite aussi d'être souligné, c'est qu'il nous faut renforcer l'équilibre économique de ces acteurs du réemploi, que ce soit des associations particulièrement, parce que nous récupérons par exemple les équipements numériques. 19 000 équipements sont donnés à des associations pour le réemploi depuis 2012. Les vélos, 1500 vélos épaves qui peuvent faire l'objet de réemploi. Bien évidemment, les commandes en électroménager, 40% des commandes concernent des produits issus du réemploi. Donc, ceci mérite d'être souligné. Et enfin, quand on parle avec les acteurs économiques, les entreprises, il faut savoir que nous avons depuis 10 ans au moins des démarches d'écologie industrielle. Ça veut dire que ce qu'on appelle la chaleur fatale peut être une source d'énergie pour les entreprises à proximité. Et de ce point de vue-là, il y a 30 000 équivalents foyers de Strasbourg qui bénéficient de cette chaleur fatale réinjectée dans le réseau. Et enfin, nous travaillons justement à des réseaux de chaleur, même un réseau de chaleur frontalier France-Allemagne sur la récupération de la chaleur fatale. Tout ça pour vous dire que nous souhaitons amplifier cette dynamique, bien sûr, particulièrement les démarches d'éco-conception et travailler davantage encore avec les acteurs économiques. Et peut-être juste pour finir, ayant été labellisé 5 étoiles sur 5 sur les sujets énergie-climat, nous tenons à Strasbourg cette année en juin les assises européennes de la transition énergétique du 24 au 26 juin avec plusieurs milliers de participants qui sont attendus. Merci pour votre attention.
Merci beaucoup. Voilà les rapports. Après, on va diffuser aussi les QR codes, comme ça, vous pouvez les lire en ligne. And we are now moving to Spain. Valencia region. We're very glad to have here Maria Ángela Cano Garcia, Regional Minister for Innovation, Industry, Trade and Tourism. Well, we talked about energy, among other things, with the Eurometropole Strasbourg. And this leads us also to the next topic, as in the region of Valencia, there is a strong focus on the industrial symbiosis. So how to make the most across the interaction amongst the industries in terms of how they use energy, they reuse water, they transform waste into other resources. And this is something that represents the basis of a real ecosystem across the government, the business, and then people that obviously live in the area. The floor is yours, Maria Ángela Cano Garcia, please.
Thank you, Oriana. If I may, before getting into your questions, I'd like to start with a few appreciation words. First, thank you to the OECD team for the commitment and the detailed work in the study on the Valencian region. Working across a region as diverse and complex as ours is never simple, and the level of insight you provide us is impressive. Congratulations. I also want to recognize the contribution of over 80 stakeholders in the Valencian region, from regional and local administration to companies, business associations, civil society organizations, and research centers. All of them took the time to participate in workshops, review drafts, and offer input along the way. And I can't forget the European Commission, which selected us to join the Circular City and Regions Initiative. The continued support through the CCRI has allowed us to be part of a collaborative environment where we'll learn from others, share experiences, and accelerate our own progress. This scan is much more than a report, let me tell you. It's a tool that gives us clarity and direction. It identifies where we're doing well, but more importantly, where we can improve. And that's exactly the kind of support we need to move our circular economy policies to the next level. Now getting to the question, the system you mentioned, it isn't a formal agency or administrative body. It's a collaborative structure we call the Industrial Symbiosis Observatory of the Valencian Community. It was launched by IBACE, the Valencian Institute for Competitiveness and Innovation, which is part of our regional ministry of our innovation, industry, trade and tourism. The idea came itself from an European project, the transition regions towards industrial symbiosis. It was held between 2016 and 2021, and it helped us learn from other European regions and identify good practices in industrial symbiosis, how one company waste could become another resource. But just as importantly, it helped us start thinking strategically, how could we scale these practices across the entire region? That was our goal. That's when we realized we had something powerful in our hands, an approach that could bring our circular economy strategy to life and contributed to the European Green Deal. So after the project ended, we kept going through IDIME, one of our regional technological centers. We've founded the creation of a digital platform to connect companies, allowing them to exchange underused materials, energy, water, and other resources. What's been essential to the observatory's success, I believe, is the governance model. It's not just top-down or public sector driven. It's a real partnership between public agencies, business organizations, and the research and technological systems. And even more importantly, it's the companies themselves that have taken ownerships. They see the value. Their engagement is what has allowed us to bring this concept to most productive sectors in the region and connect it with local industrial association and territorial stakeholders. Our goal is to advance the circular economy through the industrial symbiosis, but also go further to build a full symbiosis ecosystem. That means not just isolated exchanges between two companies, but whole networks where materials, energies, and information flow in smart and efficient ways. To do this, we're carrying out right now a comprehensive mapping of material flows across the region, and we're starting to see exciting results. I like to highlight the progress we've made in energy symbiosis, especially through the energy communities in industrial zones that are close to urban areas. This opens possibility for collaboration between industry and municipalities, which is a key piece of the puzzle. And that brings me back to the question about the link between industrial and territorial symbiosis. From the beginning, we built a participation map that include sectoral and regional business association, along with the management and modernization entities of industrial areas. These entities have real potential to become local drivers of symbiosis. that territorial rollout is helping us embed the concept more broadly and link it to the local development. Right now, we're working on proof of concept with both public and private partners. For example, recovering industrial wastewater for urban uses like street cleaning. These kind of projects are only possible thanks to the technical support of the universities and technological institutes who help us assess feasibility and ensure we can scale up that work. And that's all from my side. Thank you again for the opportunity of sharing our experience with you.
Thanks a lot indeed for sharing your approach, which among the cases has been quite unique. And we found that really there is a very strong and solid ecosystem across the business, the university to take this forward. And as you highlighted, to link the industrial symbiosis with the territorial symbiosis means that it's not just an exchange across industry, but really like to benefit the territory as a whole. Thanks a lot. And now we move to Germany with Secretary of State for Climate Change and Environment, Britta Berendt. So in Berlin, we have had a discussion with very good numbers of stakeholders on waste, on material, on innovation, on business, and also on services, being Berlin, a city of young people, very dynamic, is the place where I think there is the highest percentage of startup. So it's in Germany. So what we would like to hear is really how you are dealing with this innovation part of the circular economy, which also include digitalization, which include experimentation, and of course, involvement of the youth community as well. The floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And I would like to start with two comments. First of all, I would really like to thank you from the heart for the report you created and drafted, and for the whole process, because thank you so much. Actually, to be honest, it's a booster for Berlin's role as a trailblazer in becoming a circular city, and this is really valuable for us. So thank you very much from the heart. You said you were talking to so many people in Berlin, and this is why, because Berlin is such a complicated city and there are so many different actors, because, you know, Berlin is a city, but it's a state as well, and there are the communal authorities. So it's really like a big picture. So you really did a good job because you identified exactly the right people to talk to. Compliments from my side. Second remark, I would like to congratulate you on the fact that you have this great innovation here in this meeting. And this is the youth perspective you mentioned, the voice of the young people. Because I remember, you know, in Berlin, we have a kind of competition for architects, for young architects and landscape architects for sustainable concepts. And I remember last year when we had the prize award and everything, and then there was a colleague of mine who was talking to the young people, and he said he was talking about climate change, climate adaptation, everything. And he said, you young people, actually, you are not the ones who are responsible for the situation we are living in right now, but you have to deal with it. So be brave, go ahead. And I think that the fact that you have these young voices here at the table reminds us all that we have this responsibility, and that everything we do and everything we don't do actually has an impact for the future. So thank you so much. This is really great. I will take that to Berlin as well. And we will implement this in our meetings as well. Really great. So when we're talking about Berlin, you know, Berlin has always been a city of transformation. The city had to reinvent itself like many times, as you know. And as you said, it's a very creative city. It's a young city. It's a diverse city. And it's a city, it's the only region actually with a economic growth right now. So if we're looking at Berlin and you were asking what are we doing exactly, I want to give you some examples of the actions we took in the past. So let me start with the example of with the construction side and reusing construction material, because you know Berlin is very fast growing city. We are reaching like 4 million right now, and there are prognoses who say that like by 2050 we will reach like 5 million. I'm not sure about that, but the fact that it's growing very fast is a part of my experience every day, because Berlin is a very huge construction site. So the fact or the question what we are doing with the construction material is key for our city. And that's what I already told you. We created the urban mining hub, and right now we are like identifying the most important legal framework questions we have to answer in order to make this construction work at the end of the day. So this was a very important step for our city. Another thing we did, like in the last 2 years, we created a special form of department store. It's called the Noch Mall, and Noch in German means again. So it's a mall where you can buy like used things like furniture, clothing, electronic devices. So you can buy nearly everything there. And this is the things you can buy there. They have been collected by our waste agencies and by special pop-up events. And the thing that Sophia told us about it reminded me of these things we have in Germany and in Berlin. It's called the Kiez Days, because Kiez in German is like the way you call the small communities you live in. It's the Kiez. And then you have these kind of special events where you can bring your stuff and it's been collected, and it's a social event at the end of the day as well. So another thing we did, we created like a special coordination service for our businesses to have kind of conversation of implementing circular economy concepts into their business strategies. And this is a shared strategy and coordination service with our economic colleagues as well. So it's not just from the nature side, but it's from the economic side as well. It's a shared service we offer in Berlin. And, you know, very important for Berlin is the whole scene of the startup scene, because Berlin is a hub for startups, not just in Germany, but in Europe as well. So if you look at the startups, they focus on sustainable solutions, like nearly 60% of them, they focus on this area. And we have to use this knowledge in order to get ahead with our strategy. So what we did, we created an impact hub in Berlin. That's a special place for startups where they can have their offices and where they can get into contact with the traditional economy players. So they know where to go, and then they can exchange and create new business models. So this is a very interesting place. If you ever happen to get to Berlin again, you have to visit the Impact Hub. It's really, really great. And then what we did was a more strategic thing to create a zero waste agency. It's an agency that focuses, at the beginning, was focusing on the prevention of waste. And it's a network of the civil society actors and administration and economy actors as well. But what we want to do now, we want to transform the Zero Waste Agency into a very strong partner and player for the circular society as a whole. So we started this kind of transformation process, and I think that's exactly the way to go, because we are ahead of this, because waste reduction was important like in the past, but now we have to move ahead, and that's what we want to do by this transformation process of our Zero Waste Agency as well. At the end of the day, I think cooperation is actually key. You know, before I came to Berlin, I was at the federal level at the Ministry of Interior, and I was working in the crisis management area. I was head of some crisis teams, for example, on the Ukraine migration scene. And what I learned from these days was actually that you have to be a radical team player if you want to have success in a very difficult environment. And actually we are living in very difficult times right now, and we have to partner up and team up and be radical team players. And that's why I invite all of you, if you come to Berlin, let me know. And I will love to have conversation on this topic with all of you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Secretary of State. Indeed, the conversation now is moving from waste and waste reduction to material management, and through sharing these ideas with the startup and a number of actors that are very dynamic in the Berlin scene. So we learned a lot, and we hope that this can progress very fast. Now we are moving to Portugal. Matosinhos. Welcome to Manuela del Carvalho Alvarez, Councillor for Environment and Energy Transition. The city of Matosinhos is located in the north of Portugal. Basically, is the area of Porto, no? The part of the seaside is it extends on 15 kilometers coastline, and the port is very well known for as a significant economic engine of the city, but let's say of Portugal in general. And because of this strategic position, we thought that the link between the circular economy and the blue economy, given that there is also a Matosinhos MAR 2030 strategy, is very relevant in this case. So how do you combine these two agendas? The floor is yours.
Good morning, and thank you for your introduction and for your support in our circular economy plan. It was very useful, and it's a great tool for our teams. And it's with a great honor that I represent the municipality of Matosinhos at this OECD roundtable, and it is also with a deep sense of urgency that I share our contribution. We now understand that carbon neutral and planetary regeneration cannot be achieved through energy decarbonization alone. We must fundamentally transform how we extract, produce, consume, and manage resources. This is where the circular economy comes in, not as an alternative, but as a structural path forward. Matosinhos, a coastal city in northern Portugal with 15 kilometers of Atlantic coastline, is a city that grows from its geography, a city whose identity is shaped by the sea, industry, and knowledge, and is with that identity that we shape our future. The Port of Leixões, the economic engine accounting for around 27% of the local GDP, is not a merely logistic hub, is the heart of a circular strategy. Matosinhos is building a new urban and territorial paradigm where the sea, waste, data, and energy are no longer seen as problems to be mitigated, but as resources to be regenerated. Through the Matosinhos MAR 2030 strategy and our roadmap to reach carbon neutral in 2030, we have embraced circularity as the path to climate neutral. We are adding value to marine byproducts such as fish scales, skins, and crustacean shells, transforming them into fertilizer, pet snacks, or bioplastic. We are reducing waste and regenerating economic, environmental, and social value. What was once waste is now resource. More than words, we have plans. Our territorial action plan for the circular economy, developed with the university and in coordination with OECD, outlines a cross-cutting systemic intervention focused on 3 pillars: bio-waste, consumption, and construction. These plans set concrete goals: reduce per capita waste by 10%, recycle 60% of urban waste, and achieve selective collection of bio-waste in 55%. These are impactful figures for us. They are commitments for the future. But circularity is not just about recycling. It's about prevention, it's about rethinking, it's about redesigning. In Matosinhos, we are building and renovation social housing according to NZEB standards, nearly zero energy buildings. We are expanding composting programs, reuse incentives, second-hand markets, and food donation networks. And we are treating our blue forest, our dune and estuarine ecosystems as vital assets for carbon sequestration, biodiversity, and local identity. In the field of innovation, we are a city that experiments. At the Hub Azul de Leixões, we test ocean renewable energies and environmental monitoring technologies. In the technological free zone, we open our territory to marine robotics and artificial intelligence. Through Blue Act, we support startups that turn the circular economy into a business model and regeneration into competitive advantage. And at the Port of Leixões, the Port Authority is working to achieve energy self-sufficiency by 2030. They know that although ships are docked for only 3% of their operational time, this accounts for 80% of port-related emissions. They know that shore power, alternative fuels, and decarbonization of urban logistics are crucial, and they are taking actions. Matosinhos is a city that has chosen to act with courage, and collaboration. We know that no transition is possible without people. That's why we have mobilized over 10,000 citizens in participatory programs, environmental education, and solution co-creation. The circular economy is not merely as an environmental policy, it's a new economy. It's a new social contract with the planet, and Matosinhos is providing this every day through its choices, its protests, and its partnerships. Today, more than sharing what we do, we want to inspire and to learn, because we believe that the future of cities is circular, blue, and regenerative, and that this future is built here and now by everyone's hands. Matosinhos is also investing in institutional capacity building and innovation in governance. By engaging business, university, technology centers, and local associations, we have created a collaborative network that designs and tests solutions at real scale. The participatory approach has been essential in building trust, reducing resistance, and creating collective ownership of necessary change. Circularity in Matosinhos is not a department. It's a culture and its making. The digital dimension has also been critical to this transition. With real-time monitoring platforms, urban sensors, and digital twins, we are measuring the metabolism of the city, its flows of waste, energy, and materials to make smarter, faster, and more effective decisions. Digital tools are helping us close invisible loops, anticipate issues, and improve public policy performance through evidence. It's important to emphasize that circular economy is not just a local solution, it's a global scale response. That's why we believe that we can serve as replicable, scalable, and adaptable example. Coastal cities face similar challenges, pressures on resource, climate vulnerability, and the need to diversify economies, but they also have unique opportunities, access to marine ecosystems, a culture of innovation, and global logistic networks. Our community is to share, to learn, and to lead with humility, but also with ambition. In our territory, circular and blue economy converge in tangible practices, from the valorization of bio-waste from the fishing sector to ecological regeneration of estuary zones, from the promotion of sustainable seafood in short supply chains to use the digital technologies for monitoring the health and marine ecosystem. It's precisely in this integration that our distinctive lies. Matosinhos is not only advancing the circular economy on the blue economy, it's creating a new economic ecology rooted in regeneration, cooperation, and resilience. And this is the vision we want to share with you as an invitation to collective future. Thank you again for the opportunity, for your support.
Thank you very much, Councillor, and the city of Matosinhos. Indeed, coastal cities really face very specific challenges. number of activities that, of course, can embed the circular economy principles much more strongly, maybe, and in some cases, really on experimental basis. We will discuss this also tomorrow afternoon, if you can afford staying this. At 4:30, there is a dedicated session on the blue economy in cities and regions. Very good. Now we are moving to the Netherlands yet again. Another case study actually was the first of this series of circular economy policy scans. We went to Zuid-Holland, in which even the building where we did the interviews was based on circular economy principles, from the material in which through which it was constructed to the waste management, water recycling. It was really amazing. So first we had a field visit in the building, and we really benefit of all the features of it. And then, of course, we met with many stakeholders from different departments, from different areas of the economy of the province. And what we would like to highlight perhaps here, among the other things, was this spatial approach, because what we heard from many stakeholders is like the circular economy needs space, space to store, a space for building in a certain way, to reuse material. Where do we put this material where there is no space? How do we conceive building sectors where there is no space, and we have limitation in construction, given the characteristics of the Netherlands that have been reminded in the previous versions, in the previous session. So in your experience, Robert, tech transition manager for the circular economy, how it is possible to adopt a holistic approach to spatial planning, shifting from what we call in the report a competition for space to a space sharing paradigm? The floor is yours.
Thank you, Ariana. Thank you for being here. It's an honor to be here. And thanks for the invitation. Although I know the setting of today is not a setting in which I can expect an answer, but I want to start with posing a question to you all. And that question is, can you imagine a circular society? How does it look like? What's your life will be in 2050? How will you shop? How will you travel? How will you work? And if I would ask you all individually, your future life, it will be enormously rich and diverse. And in Zuid-Holland, we firmly believe that for the circular economy to thrive, we need a fresh narrative. It requires a new way of thinking, acting, and organizing. And that's why our vision extends to a circular society and not only a circular economy, which involves everyone: government, entrepreneurs, scientists, local initiatives, NGOs, and all generations, young and old. And therefore we use, it's again the Netherlands, but we work with a network approach, emphasized by Jacqueline Kramer. We support networks and facilitate networks to help them with cooperation and co-creation, and to overcome and remove barriers, for instance, on financing and regulation. And to translate our narrative, our new narrative, to material use, it's quite a long shot in South Holland. We are hosting 1/5 of the Dutch population and use 1/3 of all the raw materials used in the Netherlands. Partly because we have a big harbor, Rotterdam, but we have a lot of industries. And the OECD visit in 2023 was well timed. They provided a comprehensive set of recommendations to Zuid-Holland, which we have used as a cornerstone for our new strategy, which we were developing at that time. And I would like to extend again our thanks to the OECD for their diligent work and recommendations. One of the building blocks in the strategy addresses the lack of space for circular activities in our region. Each square meter in Zuid-Holland has been quadruple booked or more. And this pressure only increases in a circular society, especially during the transition phase, when you have linear activities and circular activities at the same time. The Netherlands has a long history in spatial planning. Everything neatly spaced, separated, preferably beautifully designed, like our building at the province. But the transition towards a circular society forces us really to reinvent ourselves. We have to become more creative in our spatial planning. We see, and we will see much more in the future, new circular businesses and value chains searching for a place to operate in South Holland. Now they're starting in South Holland and they escape to another region. That's not a real circular society. It's important to emphasize that the significance of collaboration over competition. We strongly believe this in the key to success for our spatial jigsaw. Already in 2023, in close cooperation with relevant stakeholders, we developed a regional spatial strategy for the transition to a circular society. And this strategy identifies the characteristics of what's needed for the circular value chains to develop and what's needed in spatial planning. And also in this strategy, we developed a new spatial narrative and a new language. We now use terms like spatial links, backbones, arenas, chains, hubs, a language we also use in the Interreg Eurodelta project asset with our Dutch, German, and Belgian partners. Earlier this year, we identified suitable locations for circular activities and signed a declaration of intent with the national government and municipalities to work toward protection and reservation of primary circular sites. Elements of this approach are building a network of logistic and storage hubs, both needed for construction and reusable packaging, improve symbiosis within and between business areas, and explore and develop the concept of co-siting and business collectives. And some of the entrepreneurs use the slogan, there is no waste, only feedstock. We are creating funds and instruments to relocate activities like DIY store or even dog washing salons, which are on places of environmental high categories and water-related sites, which are important for circular activities. And the next step we are planning to take, inspired by the OECD, is to challenge our stakeholders and our colleagues to rethink housing concepts and mobility concepts. We assume that the reduction in spatial requirement translates in lower material use. Thanks again for the invitation, and I'm looking forward to our cooperation.
Thanks again, Robert, for highlighting this progress. Actually, we have almost just published the scan, even if it was the first of the 10, and you already mentioned a number of things that you have taken on board. So thanks a lot for this. We move to Ireland with Anne Graham, a Community and Development Commission. We had this dialogue with the Western Development Commission as they are the one in charge for regional development. And the focus somehow was very much, this was really the result of the conversation, was very much about social enterprises and the role of social enterprises in driving the circular economy. Of course, we looked into the SMEs, a number of very, very small actually enterprises, but the social one seemed to have really a stake in the future of the circular economy in the regions. And that's why we wanted now to hear from you, how is the Western Development Commission supporting social enterprises, also those that we actually interviewed during the policy dialogue, to elevate circular economy impact. And the floor is yours.
Thank you, Oriana. And firstly, I just want to say thanks to you and your team, George and Ander, and the CCRI team for allowing us this opportunity. We're waiting patiently on this report. Lots of the stakeholders also sent their thanks. And the fact that they are actually waiting on the report indicates that there's motivation within the social enterprise sector and the other sectors that participated in this programme. So I suppose just to start off, what the Western Development Commission does currently in terms of supporting the social enterprise sector, we provide a social finance fund, which is available for the not-for-profit sector to allow them to take on green themed projects, and lots of those are already in the circular economy space. I have colleagues in the EU projects team which have also taken on circular economy themes. A couple of examples of those is the CircNets project, which sits in the blue economy space, and that's the recycling of fishing nets, fishing gear, that type of thing. And then another project that was taken on by the EU projects team was the Threads project, which is focused on the circularity of clothing and that type of thing. Additionally, I have a policy team that sit within Western Development Commission, and they're also waiting on this report, because what that policy team does is they work and influence national government, and they'll be using this to kind of implement change. So what do we plan to do with this report, and what's planned in the future? So the Western Development Commission has just this year developed a brand new strategy, and there's 4 pillars within that, and there's a number of the initiatives I'm going to speak about now that speak to the circular economy space. So one of the things that the report identified, that there's a need, I suppose, for information sharing and knowledge exchange, and lots of our colleagues here today mentioned that. So what we plan to do is host an annual conference and seminars on specific themes that will look at green theme and the circular economy. And it'll be an opportunity for social enterprises to exchange already proven models in the circular economy. So there's a number of those. And as Oriana mentioned, some of those were part of the stakeholder group that, that we interviewed. Examples of those are, one of them was a bicycle repair social enterprise, very successful, well established in Galway City. Another one was an organisation called Bounce Back, which was a mattress recycling social enterprise, also very successful. And then a third one was called Cycle Up. It's a clothing recycle social enterprise. But what we identified was that although there was these very successful social enterprises, what they were doing was very successful models that can be replicated elsewhere throughout the region. So that's what my team intends to do going forward, to use those social enterprise models and replicate and just scale it throughout the region. And they will get the benefit of the, the peer support that's already there in the sector. One of the other themes and the initiatives that we plan to improve on is data and digitalization. The WDC will develop projects and will work with our local authority agencies on digital strategies to promote the adoption of digitalization in communities and businesses. WDC has already started discussions with academia to collaborate on projects, and we've also begun looking at data gathering and the mapping of the circular economy solutions for the region. The draft report that we have indicates that there is a dearth of data, which is obviously very important in terms of measuring where you're at and how do you improve on that. So some planned activities, we will engage a quadruple helix model to co-create a project which will involve research, and it will map the waste streams in our region. It'll also map the material flows, and that will be used then to empower circular social enterprises. So once we have the gaps identified, we intend then as an organisation to drive on those gaps and to support again the social enterprise sector to bridge those gaps and improve on what we can do. We also intend to work with another EU project which is called Data to Sustain. Some of you may be familiar with it. We'll be co-creating a monitoring circular economic data and infrastructure, and hopefully to develop a system to track and measure economic environment impacts of circular economy practices. That's the piece on data and digitalization. And then one of the last things as an initiative under one of the pillars, which is progressing social innovation and social enterprise, we plan to create a regional test bed for social innovation. And this will encourage experienced social enterprises and invite new social enterprise models to promote initiatives to achieve better circular economy. These initiatives will explore innovative solutions to social challenges and develop collaborations between social enterprise, research institutions, and policymakers to accelerate the adoption of new ideas. So that's that. Just one thing I want to say, some of the key takeaways that I've been observing today is the grassroots opportunities for social enterprise, the grassroots opportunities for community groups and social entrepreneurs. I think a recurring theme that we've heard today is, ecosystem enablement can come from bottom up, and it is happening on the ground. And what's interesting is sometimes maybe the national governments are behind what's actually happening on the ground. So I'm really excited for putting some of these recommendations into place very soon. And I'd just like to thank you again, Oriana. It's been a pleasure working with everyone here. Thank you.
Actually, I have also to promote the OECD work on Ireland, the circular economy in Ireland, which was done a few years ago. And now we were very glad to be able to focus on the region in particular. Last but not least, we are now moving to Greece, Central Macedonia. We have a video from the Deputy Regional Governor of the Metropolitan Unit of Thessaloniki, Mr. Konstantinos Joutikas, and I would like to invite the team to play it, please. Thank you.
Distinguished representatives of the OECD, the European Commission, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. It is with great regret that I am unable to be with you in person today, due to unforeseen commitments. However, I want to express my sincere appreciation for this important gathering and the invaluable work being done in advancing the circular economy. Although I cannot be there physically, I remain fully committed to our shared goals and deeply appreciate the collaboration with the OECD, the European Commission, and all our partners. Through our collaboration, the region of Central Macedonia has gained access to expertise, best practices, and financial instruments that accelerate our green transition. The OECD, with its research and strategic insights, and the European Commission, through its policies and funding programs, play a crucial role in strengthening the circular economy across Europe and, of course, in our region. Our decision to collaborate with the OECD and the EU's Circular Cities and Region initiative reflects our commitment to a sustainable future. With tailored support from the OECD, we are developing a region-specific action plan to reduce waste, extend product life cycles, and stimulate sustainable economic growth. Our region is one of the most active in Europe in terms of promoting and implementing circular economy strategies. In particular, Central Macedonia is among the 10 most active regions in Europe in this area, adopting an integrated approach in multiple sectors, from agriculture and industry to waste management and energy efficiency. Central Macedonia is at the forefront of implementing advanced sorting and recycling processes, contributing to Greece's national goals for sustainability and circular economy. The first integrated waste management unit is already in operation in Ceres, while 2 more are expected to be operational by 2026. Our region plans to convert agricultural waste into valuable resources, such as bioplastics, while working closely with leading research institutions, such as the American Farm School and Aristotle University of Thessaloniki, to create new circular value chains. And in the same time, we have developed actions that interconnect different sectors of the economy, ensuring that waste from the industry can be utilized as a raw material in another, strengthening the local economy and reducing environmental impact. Thanks to our competitive advantages, the region of Central Macedonia is home to the largest number of private biogas production plants in Greece. And these plants utilize agricultural and industrial residues as well as expired food, producing the largest amount of electricity from waste nationwide. With the support of European funding, we have introduced incentives for small and medium-sized enterprises to adopt circular business models, boosting innovation and job creation in green sectors. We adopt and implement European best practices, investing in infrastructure that accelerates the transition to a circular growth model. The Regional Operational Program, Central Macedonia 2021 to 2027, has integrated the circular economy as its core pillar. And finally, we have developed action plans for the circular economy that include investments in renewable energy, sustainable mobility, and digital solutions to improve research management. Dear colleagues, as one of Greece's primary agricultural and food production hubs, Central Macedonia has been at the forefront of bio-circular economy initiatives, who have embraced solutions that transform agricultural residues and food waste into bio-based products, energy, and fertilizers, who have developed strategies to reduce landfill use through composting and bioenergy productions. Collaboration with research institutes and businesses have led to the development of biodegradable packaging, reducing plastic waste. The OECD report highlights our efforts in reintegrating agricultural byproducts into the economy, reducing waste and promoting sustainable food systems. Ladies and gentlemen, our region, the region of Central Macedonia, remains committed to the transition towards a sustainable development model where the circular economy is not just a strategy, but a way of life. With the support of the OECD and the European Commission, we implement innovative initiatives that create environmental, economic, and social benefits for our communities. The path to a fully circular economy requires cooperation, investment, and continuous innovation. We're proud to be part of this transition and look forward to further collaborations with our international partners to achieve our sustainability goals. Thank you very much for your understanding, and I wish everyone a productive and inspiring discussion.
Thanks a lot. And actually, this intervention brings me to an important point, because during this process of the policy dialogue, we had an important part related to the city-to-city learning. Actually, we exchanged experiences and we made sure that cities could learn or regions could learn from others that had faced similar challenges, and they maybe had found solutions that could be applicable or that could inspire those cities and regions that we were worked with. So this scanner wouldn't have been possible with this other part of the table, in which you can find all our peer reviewers, Inigo from the Basque countries, Wim and Elmar from Belgium, Hugo from France, Jacqueline from the Netherlands. So really, thank you very much for sharing your experiences and also to provide ideas for the recommendations that are included in this policy scan. We have a few minutes, I know, but if you wish to make to ask a question, to make an observation, a reflection, a short one, of course, you are very much welcome and allowed to do so. So I open the floor in case anyone there before lunch. Yes, please, Keith, come approach the table, please. Okay.
As a former government employee for the United Kingdom, and I also played a very active role in the OECD's Urban Working Party and Regional Development Policy Committee for many years. But my question was, what do cities want central government to do or do more of to help support their own efforts to maximize the move towards a circular economy? In the UK government has just established a circular economy task force, which is an expert advisory group involving public, private, voluntary sectors to support the government in creating a circular economy for England. But we face a big challenge that in most of the UK, household recycling rates have not improved in the last 15 years. There are exceptions. There's some really good examples of what's happening, but there are a lot of places where it's moribund and rates are really not improving. So what is your message to central government? How can central government help you to do better and get more cities around the country to embrace the circular economy? Thank you.
Thank you, Keith. Very, very relevant question. Is there anyone from the cities, from both sides of the table, wanted to respond to this question? Because we have our view, we put everything in this report, by the way, but yes, please, Berlin.
I think we need more money. It's not very intelligent, but I mean, not just for circular transformation, but for transformation, like in general, we need more money. It's a very expensive transformation. We're thinking about the water system, for example, the transformation of the use of water. It's so expensive, and so we need more money. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Nisha from The Hague. You asked what we need from the central governments or national governments. Besides money, I think it's also like that they really see that it's an urgent topic and that they put it as a priority, so that it's not just for the bigger cities that are able to deal with this, but also the smaller cities, and that we can cooperate. It's a matter of money, it's a matter of willingness, and it's a matter of getting like our noses in the same direction, not just with the governments, but also like with the industry, companies. And I think that's what could help from the national government to make that a priority. Then it will come, because the cities do want to go forward. I think there's a lot of effort, not just by the cities themselves, but also by the citizens that have a great ideas. They're creative, but they cannot do it themselves. We cannot do it ourselves. So yeah, I think that's what you need from the national governments, from Europe as well. Easier access to funds to make this happen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Quick question actually for you in Berlin, because it strikes me that the federal government in Germany has adopted a national circular economy strategy recently. Has that impacted your effort, enabled, or do you see that there's more of a transmission belt that needs to be established between the two strategies?
There it is again, the money issue, actually, because, you know, I think Berlin was a kind of front runner for circular economy, and we implemented some strategies and frameworks in Berlin. And now we have this national framework, but without the funding, it's like, it's not, I mean, it's good because it shows that it's a priority on the national level as well, but it's not enough.
Jacqueline, you wanted to take the floor?
Well, I want to respond to the previous question. My approach is that the network governance and public governance should work much more together, because a lot of the specific regulation or economic incentives are shown by those who work in practice, and they see very clearly what can be done and how it can be done. And we rely a lot upon EU regulation, particularly eco-design and the waste directives and REACH. So they are very helpful. But of course, there are also specific regulations and things that the government must do at national level in order to get things going.
Thank you. And we close with Aline.
Thank you. I have a comment on the question. I think in my experience from the government, we really need help with regulation still, because with circular economy, it's all about demand and creating demand, and it doesn't happen by itself. And I think the market blockages can only be removed with the help of regulation often. And another comment and a thought and maybe a question to all of you. Do you think cities should be in charge of creating circular infrastructure, like we are in charge of roads and lights and, you know, all the basic infrastructure? Should the return system be the same kind of priority? And yeah, that takes a lot of funding again. Thanks.
Indeed, this is a question that requires quite a reflection that probably during lunch could be a good way to find some inputs to this very, very tricky question. But now to finalize this session, we go to our youth moment. Actually, we're very happy to have here Cassandra Frua De Angeli from Sciences Po, and please, the floor is yours to give us a little bit of your view of this session.
Good morning, everyone. So my name is Cassandra Frua De Angeli, and I am a second-year master student in the Governing Ecological Transitions in Cities master's program at Sciences Po in the Urban School with Dean Vitale. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you. OECD for this opportunity. What I can offer at this stage in my life are my academic aha moments that convinced me of the importance of this topic. I had a very interesting experience lately. We are in the social sciences, but our curriculum has thrown us to do a material flow analysis with an industrial ecologist. So I know firsthand how difficult it is to obtain data of cities and regions using the Eurostat national methodology. So I support the director in her remarks this morning that this is a priority to find how to understand the progress and to define the best levers, the most powerful levers to drive down material flows. The second thing is historical perspective we gained in school with regards to the great linearization, which is something I was unfamiliar with and very shocked to learn about. We know about the great acceleration in the mid-20th century, but when we talk about the beginning of the industrial era that broke the intimate material connections that cities had with their hinterlands, and that circularity used to be completely normal. This shocked me to no end, and I still can't help thinking about how many cows used to live in Paris until 1940. So yes, and then the other thing is that how big the linear economy is. This is also something that has just stayed with me every day. I can't help thinking about how many tons per year we extract. That is 100 billion. And per person in the EU, that is 12 tons per person. And even more shocking is that there are 6 megatons of plastic and only 4 megatons of animals alive on the planet today. So when I read the global circularity report that shows that circularity rate is decreasing rapidly to 7% now, I am very worried that the linear economy is so strong that we are going to get lock-in unless we focus on sobriety first. Sobriety, sufficiency, it's a complicated word. We all know what it means. It means to really think about what is necessary for life and then build our infrastructure around that. So being careful of how much material flows are needed for the maintenance of our pre-existing infrastructure, which is 60% of material flows are into supporting what we already have. So we don't want to get stuck in a zero-sum situation where the gains in circularity are offset by bigger losses from linear growth. So I'm really learning from you about what it means to act and to innovate and to collaborate and move through the challenges of this situation. It's very inspiring to me, and I hope to continue to learn and build my capacity to contribute. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Cassandra. And now I would leave the floor to Peter Borky. Peter is the lead of circular economy here at the Environment Directorate at the OECD. So, Peter, a few words to conclude this very rich session. I know that it's difficult to summarize, but perhaps some links to the OECD wide work on the circular economy, I think it would be very helpful for the audience. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much, Oriana, for this opportunity, and thank you all for the really interesting insights that you've provided us, from the 10 cities and regions over this session. I mean, I think it shows how vibrant, the circular economy activities that you're engaging in are, how vibrant cities are as a, as a place where the circular economy is actually created. I think it also shows the very significant role that cities and regions have in this. I mean, I think it's in cities and regions that the rubber really hits the road. And I think, that came out very, very nicely through all your contributions, including, important topics such as, connecting the circular economy to the social fabric, to citizens, to enterprises, to the innovation ecosystem that you have in your place, just to name a few examples. So I think I've been working in the circular economy space for the last 15 years, but I think I still took away quite a lot, which is unusual. And I think, what came up in the previous session and now also in the discussion, I think anyone who's worked in the circular economy space recognizes that there's a big challenge in actually scaling up, moving to scale. We have a lot of very interesting experimentation, a lot of projects that work very well. But there is like a glass ceiling that is very hard to get through, and I think this is what some of you hinted at in the Q&A as well, which is that the local level is not sufficient. I mean, you also need the support from the broader policy framework. Because ultimately, why is a lot of this not upscaling? It's some of you said we need money. I mean, it's basically because it's not competitive with linear. Circular business models are at a disadvantage. It's usually a little bit more expensive, and that's also linked to the fact that the linear economy does not internalize the environmental costs that it generates, and these are things that need to be addressed, at the national, sometimes at the international level. What I wanted, I think, the conclusion is that if you want to, create a circular economy, it is pretty brutal structural change, that needs to occur. And that really requires very forceful policy intervention. In my team, and we mostly serve ministries of environment here in the organization, we've done a lot of work on plastics, which I think allows me to illustrate this very briefly. So we've been working with in support of negotiations on a global plastics treaty. Our latest publication is here on the slide. I mean, it's essentially analytical support to the negotiations, and we've been playing through different policy scenarios that show how plastic pollution can be eliminated by 2040. And I think, what this shows is, I think I need to click a couple of times, sorry. There we are. What this shows is that to eliminate plastic pollution, you need to go very forcefully with a policy mix that covers the entire value chain of plastics. What you can see here is essentially the policies that we implemented in the most ambitious policy scenario. It's about reducing production, addressing production, including through taxation of virgin materials. It's about creating, creating incentives for the design of products that lend themselves better to circularity. It's about enhancing recycling and creating the both the products, but also the infrastructure and the financial means, that can pay for all of this. And finally, it's about just ensuring that you have adequate waste management, collection and disposal at the end of of the life cycle. In all of this, cities and regions play a crucial role. But as some of you have pointed out, it's not sufficient. Some measures need to be taken, at other, levels of governance, and some issues need to be addressed internationally. So I think, my message to you is, this is great, and I think what we need more of is also discussions that ultimately lead to better alignment, of policies, and more coherence of policies across different levels of government. And this is both true vertically, sort of across levels of government, but it's also true horizontally across value chains. So that's I think what the plastics example is, shows quite forcefully. So that's all I think from my side. So thank you very much for all the insights, and I hope this can continue.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Peter, first for concluding this session, but obviously for all the support and the collaboration for this report. I know we're standing between you and lunch, so we're not going to take more of your time. It's just to perhaps invite the 10 representatives from the cities and regions to stay with us just one more second to take a picture all together. And also, I would like to give the floor to Aziza for a few information for the rest of the day, as this doesn't stop here. We'll continue with other events.